Hey y'all, it's Kira,
John,
Rachel,
Caitlin,
Dave,
Hunter,
Jake,
Clara, and you're listening to the
Peercast,
featuring the BA reps.
your one-stop shop for everything UMTAD.
Hello and welcome everyone to our 5th episode. We're already here.
Woo, let's do it. All right, I'm excited. Are you
it.
excited? This is fun.
I'm pumped.
Oh.
We also we have another surprise special guest this week.
Drum roll noise.
Clara Marsh will be joining us for our interview with the wonderful and just wise and beautiful Sarah Grace Goldman.
Yes, indeed. It was fun. Y'all gotta be excited. It's a good one. It's really
good. It is beautiful. All right. So we'll launch into some updates for you. So I was kind of, worried when we first started this podcast about filling the segment with things, but seriously, we've had to save things for later because we have so many things that are going on. So as per usual, there's a lot of updates. So buckle your seatbelt. All right. First, kind of cool big announcement. The BA is holding auditions and they're going to be in person, you guys. I know. There is, do not fret though, if you're not in town or not comfortable with being in person for those, there is a virtual option. You can send in a video. So Men on Boats, which was slotted for the fall main stage BA production this year, it'll be moved to the spring and it'll be kind of taking on the form of more of a creative collaboration, but they have some really amazing ideas going on. It'll be directed by Sarah Polatsky-Warsaw. She's an amazing just brain and human being, and I'm so excited to see kind of what her vision is and what this group comes up with. So you can be part of this group. The audition is Tuesday the 20th and Wednesday the 21st. There are slots from 4:30 to 9 o'clock. These auditions are going to be in 10-minute slots. You can sign up through Sign Up Genius. There's a link in our show notes. It's another one of our favorite little Z links. And like we said, there's an option for a recorded version, but make sure you check it out beforehand because there is a little bit of preparation that you'll want to do for this one. And so they're calling all movement actors, including dancers. It'll be a production of Jacqueline Bachhaus's Men on Boats, and it'll be a highly collaborative work of theater that explores new territory for mounting live theater in the face of our wonderful global pandemic. And the performances will entail a mix of live and recorded work that will be focused on embodiment, movement-based storytelling, connection to the land, and collaborative Indigenous methodologies of creation. And so actors, technicians, and dramaturgs will work closely with each other in this process-based project that includes performance, art installation, and documentary in this exciting exploration of a more inclusive form of storytelling.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Be excited for that, but also be excited. We have our Hecuba auditions coming up as well. So our Hecuba auditions are going to be virtual, all of them. So you can also go ahead and either sign up for a time, which we'll have the link to that at z.umn.edu/Hecuba_auditions in our show notes. But those are going to happen Tuesday, October 27th and Wednesday, the 28th from 4:30 to 9 p.m. So make sure that you go ahead and click that link and you can sign up for an audition time there. So there also is going to be some preparation for this one too. So make sure you check it out. And again, that virtual submission is always an option for you here too. And just a little bit about Hecuba. Troy has fallen, it's the end of the war and the beginning of something else, something worse. As the cries die down after the final battle, there are reckonings to be made. Humiliated by her defeat and imprisoned by the charismatic victor Agamemnon, the great Queen Hecuba must wash the blood of her buried sons from her hands and lead her daughters forward into a world they no longer recognize. Agamemnon has slaughtered his own daughter to win this war, but now another sacrifice is demanded. So, high stakes, very much so high stakes. Got a lot going on. So make sure you check it out. Also, with that, make sure you check out the full script that's also going to be on that link. It's important to always go ahead and read that whole show just to see exactly what you want to do as you're preparing for your audition. So that again, that script will be linked on the same place where you're going to go sign up for your audition time too.
For sure. That sounds epic. They both sound epic.
If you remember, a little bit ago, we started talking about how Kira and I are both on the season selection committee, which has been super fun. Wow. You should all be on the lookout for an email from that committee asking you all for some play submissions. On that form, it'll go ahead and it'll tell you exactly what we're looking for our upcoming season. And you can go ahead and start thinking about some shows that you think would fit those different categories and just, get to be able to have a say on what you get to do in our department. So be excited for that. It's going to be a super great time. And don't worry, it's also going to be on our website. So if you're not seeing it in your email soon, make sure you check that out too. Once we have it, you'll have it.
And so in the dance department, we have a couple more filmings that happened this weekend. So V's project and Hijack's project filmed this weekend. And so we have 4 out of the 10 dance films filmed. And we talked about this with Hunter again a little bit. And it's still, the films will be viewable sometime this winter to be determined. So you can keep an eye out for them because we'll let you know as soon as they come out. I'm so pumped.
Something else to be pumped for, y'all, is that the BFAs are performing on Zoom.
Yeah.
It's coming up. So the third year realism of Kin will open on the 14th. Heresy of Love opens on the 15th, and Trouble in Mind opens 16th with alternating performances running until the 20th. So make sure you check that out. Both Clara and Sarah are in either one of those, Clara being in Heresy of Love and then Sarah being in Trouble in Mind. So make sure that you check those out. You're going to get a little bit more information just about both of those in a little bit here. So stay tuned. But also make sure you look on the Instagram for links as well as our website. We'll be able to get you all that information for how to check out our wonderful BFA students that we have.
For sure. So we have another dance update. So it's capstone season, y'all, especially for those who are graduating in December. And so toribreen, she was the dance peer last year, and she's just an overall wonderful person to know. So her capstone is going to be happening coming up here. So her project titled Practice is a movement investigation of our visions for a police-free world. So it's facilitated by Tori and choreographed in collaboration with the artists, with live accompaniment from Safiso. The work is performed by Sarah Abdel-Jalil, Liu Chen, Ansel Langmead, and Hannah Pierce. In practice, they ask these questions of themselves. What does a police abolition require of our bodies? What does an abolitionist world feel like? What does it look like, and how do we get there? What about police abolition scares us, and what do we need to move forward in spite of these fears? What abolitionist models and tools already exist in our bodies, our towns, and our histories? Good questions. Wow. So practice will be performed October 17th, 18th, 24th, and 25th in several public parks, in and around the Twin Cities. Each of them will be located in a neighborhood of one of the artists in the project, which is kind of cool. And all of the shows will be free, but of course, due to COVID limitations, Tori just asks that you email her at toribreen@gmail.com, and that'll be in our show notes to get a specific time and location to reserve a space for the show. And so masks and social distancing are required of the performers as well as the audience members at all times. So check it out.
Yes. Something else to be excited about, y'all, is going to be something called Walk With Us at the Water. So Catalyst Arts, a small arts incubator interested in the intersection of art and activism and artists who define themselves as change makers. This project was conceived by Angela Two Stars, Dakota, Mona Smith, also Dakota, and Sandy Spieler. So it is an installation at the Badema Casca walk and honoring a connection, a gathering of resources. And at this time of deep uncertainty and isolation, we are intentionally creating this opportunity to deepen our connection, to get grounded in a sense of place, and gather the necessary resources for artists doing important work to heal, build, and amplify our history. So it's a wonderful, wonderful time for y'all to go ahead and just see like some wonderful art installations and some performance within those at Lake Kademakaska as well. So it's October 17th, sunrise to noon. You can gather at both of those times for a prayer as well. So Kademakaska Parkway and 39th Street is where it's specifically located. And again, it's a nice, wonderful time. Definitely pop up and see what it looks like and experience something that will, again, also deeply affect your body and kind of ask how that appears. So yeah.
Absolutely. And another exciting project from, we just have all of these exciting projects going on, and we're not even done yet. Okay, so recent grad Madeline Wall, you may have known her as the director of Open Stage here at the U. So it was like a student-run theater group. They did A Winter's Tale 2 years ago, which was beautiful. And Madeline is working on a project that'll be live and in person as well as streamed virtually. So it's her birth play project play, I With Things Newborn. And it'll be a 2-person show with her and current VA, Renee Schwartz. Oh my gosh, I literally cannot say her name without smiling. I love her so much. Okay, so here's the little synopsis, the amazing synopsis of the show. So, which was written by Madeline. So Juliet is ousted from Shakespeare's Measure for Measure after she is imprisoned for conceiving a child out of wedlock. And Sister Francisca, the young nun and midwife tasked with catching Juliet's baby, has never attended a birth alone before. But with the city outside in chaos, the 2 strangers must find enough common ground to perform an act of near unbearable intimacy. Adapted for an altered world from a longer play of the same name, I With Things Newborn is an ode to the timeless, quiet courage of those who ensure that life goes on, a story of labor and defiant hope. And so the show will be at the Off Leash Art Box, which is a really cool venue, October 30th through November 8th. And you can go ahead, there's a link in our bio, and purchase tickets for that. Through that link, there's also a Facebook page for it. And so if you are planning to go in person, the actors will all be wearing masks. Also, and the audience, just so you know, is capped at 10 people. So if you're interested, and I don't know why you wouldn't be, it'll be important to jump on those tickets really quick. And so you can, check out the Facebook link in our bio and check out that project.
Yes. It's a Madeline Wall show. You have to go. I don't know. There's no other. You don't have a choice. Like I thought, so figure that out. No.
Absolutely.
Right, up next, we have Play Lab. So Playwright Center Play Labs Festival, October 19th through the 25th. It will be online. Every ticket to every play is going to be free. So making sure that you check that out for Playwrights, developing new work with the collaborators of their choice. So Serena's play, the one that she was kind of hyping up beforehand, if y'all remember, from episodes ago to our Ride or Die listeners. Room Enough by Dama Mubashir and directed by Ebony Golden. And then also We Are Continuous, Mother of Exiles, and Begin Again. So be excited for that.
For sure. Check it out. Link in our bio, of course, as per usual. All right. And we have one last thing that you can see. There are so many opportunities to see theater this weekend. It is so exciting. Wow. So also a few episodes ago, we mentioned that Sonia's attending to theater class got to see a pickup truck opera outside of Rarig, and great news, they're doing it again. So you can have the chance to see it. So it's a mixed precipitation production, and it'll be October 25th. There are 2 times you could see it. So on that Sunday, it's showing at 1:30 and 3:30 outside of the Palace Theater in St. Paul. And so just a quote that we grabbed from their flyer. It made me smile so much, so we have to read it to you. So this is regarding the production. You guys came in like a freaking Mack truck of sunshine. You were funny, you were meaningful, you were beautiful singing and line dancing and silly puppets, and everyone loved it. Neighbors who never socialized told me how much they liked the show, and almost all of them had never been to an opera before. And so it would be a great opportunity. I know I don't get out to see a lot of operas, and so this would be super fun and super fresh, and it'll be nice this weekend.
So fresh and so clean.
Clean.
All right, make sure y'all check it out.
And so for our interview today, we have another peer guest. We're so excited. Clara's going to be joining us today. Clara, hello.
Howdy, howdy. I'm Clara Marsh. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I am the BFA peer, and I'm a fourth year. And we have some exciting stuff coming up for the BFA fourth years and third years.
Ooh.
Because of the London trip being postponed for the third years. They are also participating in this realism rap with us, which will open on the 14th next week and run till the 19th. And we are all really excited to share that with everybody.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Queen behavior.
Queen behavior is right.
Sarah Grace Goldman is a fourth year in the BFA program. She was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. She is interested in, along with acting, cooking Southern comfort food, playwriting, and really good smelling candles. Welcome, Sarah.
All right, Sarah, hello. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
How are you doing? What are you up to on this lovely
I'm good.
Saturday?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've been knitting a lot. That's exciting. We're in rehearsals for a really awesome play, Trouble in Mind by Alice Childress, which is fantastic. The show is definitely not done enough, but I think it really speaks to, I don't think I know it really speaks to conditions that are still happening in the theater world for African-American actors in particular, and how it's really easy to get pigeonholed and fall into stereotypes, which is, really, really frustrating. And it's wonderful to be doing a show that's just blunt and upfront about those sort of things, but it's also sad that I think a lot of Black actors in particular can relate to this still.
Could you give us like a little short, like rundown synopsis of the show and kind of what your role is?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm playing Millie Davis. She's one of the Black actresses. She's kind of, she's almost, she's a forgotten ingenue a little bit. That's definitely the sort of role that she would have fallen into. Unfortunately, it is the 50s. So she tends to play those, like sharecropper, not quite mammy roles, but sort of the comedic relief sort of moments, or someone who exists in servitude to a white person, be that a literal maid or slave, or someone who offers the wonderful advice that the character needs to move forward. And so in the play, it's about Willetta Mayers, who is a fabulous singer. That's what she's known for. And they're putting on this play, Chaos in Belleville, and she's toiling with this role because, once again, it is a mammy part. And she is frustrated that this is the role that she's been served with. Not only that, the role itself isn't telling the true story of the circumstances that, or it's not telling the true story of the circumstances, and it's also not true how her character in the play, within the play, would react. That's a really broad summary. There's a lot more that goes into it. What's so fantastic about our director is that he continuously reminds us that no one is really the villain in the show. I think it's easy for the show to just seem like it's about race, especially based on what I've just said. But there's way more to it. There's some misogyny going on. There's a little bit of let me think of something else. Just things about the business that that it's difficult for people to grapple with. It's just very blunt about those sorts of things.
Wow. And is H. Adam your director for that one?
No, it's actually James Williams, JW.
Ah, gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Who is a wonderful director.
That's awesome. Wow. And so you're a senior BFA.
Yeah, I am.
What are kind of your thoughts and feelings and vibes about entering the world as it is now?
Oh my gosh, what an intense question at this moment.
Good morning. Yeah,
I know. Well, I think I've heard this from several people, just the theater and being an actor is never a steady course. Had there not been a pandemic, there would still be some anxieties anyways. I am excited about I'm hopeful, first of all, that this pandemic will be under control soon, but I'm really excited and hopeful for what's going to come out of this pandemic, the works and the writing and the literature, the performances, the thinkers, all that sort of stuff. I'm really, really excited about the art that will sprout from this moment. And I'm excited to be a part of that. I'm excited to just continue to live afterwards outside of an academic institution, if that's, kind of where the wind blows me. I'm trying to remind myself to be flexible and also, just trust in, whatever people want to call it, the universe, God, that sort of thing. I have a lot of faith. But yeah, I'm trying to stay positive. I'm feeling good. I with that being said, I think that things will start to set in a little bit more when I have that degree. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm just trying to graduate. So that's what's going on right now. But I think it's easy to delve into the negatives, but there's a lot of wonderful things that I have learned and will continue to learn. And if you can think of it in this way, even though it's really difficult, I think that we are blessed to be the people who will record and write this moment.
Wow, I actually just got chills when you said that, like in my face. That was like a really beautiful thing to say. And
yeah, I agree. I can't imagine that being written by another generation, because I think as a generation, as sort of the in-between of millennial and Gen Z, we definitely represent not only sort of this sense of transition and movement, but also of growth and flexibility and moving forward, because we are sort of balanced between this, like, I grew up without a computer and phones, and also this is a way, social media, etc., is a way for social change, social justice, and that is a focus. So it's we've moved past the quote unquote adulting is hard and into the let's frickin' do it, and make this happen and make change and turn everything on its head, basically. So I agree.
And I think for all that to happen during this year, especially, like 2020 has been gross, as we
gross.
not what we want. So I mean, like, do y'all think, like, or do you think that, like, I mean, with so many things happening, I think, like, it almost feels like a lot of this stuff when in comparison to not comparison, but in conjunction with the theater world, it almost feels like things are lining up for this year to be like also a jubilee year, and having so many things happening socially, like, as you're kind of talking about, like, about how many things are going to change, like, do you think that change is going to be substantial? Like, are we gonna be seeing like these large just shifts, or do you think like it's going to be something that we're like, it just kind of feels different, like, so, like, what do you think about that?
Gosh, wow, that's such a intense and good question. Oh man, I have no idea. I know personally I couldn't imagine going back as much as I would like to. Um, I think that there are going to be some interesting changes in just how we interact with each other. Anyways, I think people are just going to be a little bit more conscious with like handshaking and that sort of thing. Just I'm I'm from the South, so everyone is real friendly. Southern hospitality is a real thing. You have one conversation with someone and you're like hugging them and going to have some barbecue with them next week. It'll be interesting to see how cultures like that shift. In terms of the theater world, man, I don't know. I think that there's going to be a lot of art that is just about joy and fun and absolutely nothing that has to do with the pandemic. I think there are some people who just need that cathartic moment where they just watch some play that is about isolation and coming back together. And then it will be interesting to see both of those and to be in a theater with just sit in a theater the way that we used to, which sounds insane right now, but if you can just like picture in your head watching the isolation play or the joy fun 42nd Street style play, I think both of those can serve as the catharsis that we need, or induce the catharsis that we need.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this at the beginning of the pandemic as well, when we had all the celebrities that were like, guys, stay inside, and they're humongous mansions, and we're all like, of course you can stay inside because you have a bowling alley, you live in a mall. I know. So it's like, do I think that people like that might go back to their normal lives? Sure. Have they probably gone back to their normal lives? Yeah. They've probably already done it.
Very personal doctors.
Yeah, but I can't imagine that people like us, like artists who are as empathetic and just people who just like feel the shift in the air, without getting too woo-woo about stuff, but like literally, we feel it in our little artistic cores, and we know that this has to change the way that we move about the world. And that's just that's what we study anyways, how people move about the world. So I don't know, I honestly, it might be up to us to decide. Because I think that after stuff like this, people really lean on artists to kind of process it for us as well, in a way that politicians or other leaders, doctors, whatever, can't really do.
Yeah. Well, and this whole thing feels sort of like a bubbling pot of a renaissance of mourning, of loss, of joy, of cultivating and finding and growing in joy, and also sadness. There's just sort of this mix of what happens when a bunch of artists, one, are separated from each other, and two, are forced in a way to really just sit with themselves. Like, what happens? What happens to the depth of their art that they continue to create after this moment? And what happens to the playwrights and the designers? How will this shift us? What will our motivations and focuses be on? what will fall away and what will continue to be important. Those things I'm just so interested to see, because I can feel in myself as an artist that it's so hard, because there's like this feeling of, well, I could do something else, you know. Everyone, I think, has definitely had that moment during this time of being like, all right, these are all of my other assets, let's see what I can do to pay my bills, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like moving forward after that, when we are able to sustain ourselves more fully with our art again, what the heck are we gonna make, you know? And playwrights have always created things, and artists have always created in great times of turmoil and adversion. I mean, I just think about like the famed female French playwright Olympe Gouche in the French Revolution, where women were not respected at all, you know. And so she was just like a badass and getting it done and making really cool shit happen. So I'm just excited to see what the future will be, and I think that we will, as Sarah said, have some of those plays that are more joy filled, but I think that they will lack this sort of superficiality and fluff of the golden age of Broadway. It'll be a new golden age filled with more heart and soul and more depth. Not to say that there isn't depth in those, they serve a purpose, but I think it will have a different element of togetherness in a way. I'm not being interviewed, but I'm out here talking.
Please bless
love it.
us with your thoughts
I know
and
that was,
wisdom.
that was gorgeous. I'm not mad at
Wow.
all.
No.
So I feel like we've been touching on the topic of kind of like something that, at least, I feel like I got like one thing from Mihal's class, kind of, somewhat, sort of. Just getting a lot. I learned a lot, but like, do I remember it? Who knows? But I feel like, I feel like one of the big things I got was like, like theater is revolutionary. And, specifically, I don't know why this is coming to my head, but when like, I forgot the name of the play, but the play that like got people to like, it was only one act and it got all these people to enlist in the Red Army.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that, wow, that's so interesting. And a part of me sees like things like that almost being a possibility in our like near future, which I don't even know of like what we would be enlisting in, if it's just a like a enlisting in like some sort of social aspect or anything like that. But that would be super cool. But kind of with the idea of theater being revolutionary, what do you see yourself creating that impact in this new time that we're going to experience?
Well, I also really love to write. So I've been writing a few things.
Just a few.
Yeah, I've been writing, and I'm excited to delve into that. Gosh, I guess circling back to Trouble in Mind and the message that it gives about we have to do better and be better, in terms of casting, but also just with theater in general. And it, I can definitely see Alice Childress being someone who signs off on the "We See You" white American theater. And for me, I think what I try to do with the things that I write, because of course it is centered around Black people and Black women in particular, since, that is who I am. And I come from,
No way.
and I come from a very matriarchal family on both sides. Yeah, it was definitely my grandmothers who were, the kind of the, I don't know what it's called, but the people who kept the family together. They were always the elders and will be the elders, because there's a lot of women in my family.
Shout out Gigi and
So
Paige Goldman.
yeah, Gigi and Paige Goldman, my mom, my grandmother, who were excellent, lovely women, and yeah, and I'm really excited to do it. Sounds a little bold of me, but I would love to make plays like Trouble in Mind not feel so relevant all the time. I would love to create some more art for Black people in particular that is not something stereotypical, and someone when you walk into your audition and you always have your little black person monologue in the back of like, okay, let me pull out, my Wilson or my Nottage, which is so exciting and so fabulous, and their words are just so gorgeous and beautiful. But I would love for there to be some more, I would love, now I'm a huge Twilight fan, and I would love for there to be some more like Black vampire romances. I would love for there to be some, rich Black people who are just rich and don't have to talk about being Black. They're just rich and dealing with rich people things, and and I would just love some more variety. And we aren't always served with that. We're very rarely served with that. And that's, really, really unfair. Because I think that if you take a Black body and put it on the stage and give them roles like that, that'll say something. Because it's like, okay, you have this Black vampire romance, but think about, now we're talking about Twilight again, but think about someone who is as old as Edward Cullen, someone who is 109 and a Black person, and they're back in high school. Can you imagine the things that they have seen? They would have gone through the Jim Crow era, the Civil Rights era, the Vietnam War, all that sort of stuff. And that informs them as a character. Man, like how exciting and how rich could that be? Holy shit. And it's taking the same vampire story that we all know back to Dracula and Nosferatu, and Interview with the Vampire and all that sort of stuff. There's just so much potential out of those sorts of things. And the only thing you did was write a vampire romance, and then the vampire's Black. And then now you got all that history to go off of as well.
Yeah.
So, you don't need to make any more plays about Black people being in pain because they're Black. We got those. Yeah, we have that. And of course, they serve a purpose, served a purpose. And this is in no way discounting them, because thank goodness for the people who wrote those, because, when they are written and when they are being written, people just needed a little shaking up as well. And, that's all I want to do as well. So, yeah.
That's super cool. The idea of because, I feel like we often write and think of Black bodies now as feeling those things, like the civil rights and Jim Crow and Vietnam War, through a sort of generational trauma, and it's almost hidden underneath, and it's felt in the bones. Yet, it would be so interesting to see the power that comes from someone that would actually have gone through that, and now they're just here chilling out in high school. There's something just that's they're living their best life, right? They said, you know what, I did it. I'm here. I'm strong. Versus now there are times where you're it feels like on stage it's oh, that person has so much weighing on them because they haven't fully reached a sort of level of catharsis with it or something like that. So I think that would be really interesting. I would love, girl, if you don't pop off with that, I would, I would love it.
Well, I will do my best, but also to your point, it's 1901 is supposedly when Edward was born and that sort of thing. And we're talking about, okay, but listen, you were talking about, the Jim Crow era and that sort of thing. And, the only thing I have to do to hear a firsthand account about that is call up my grandmother. And the thing about that is when we're talking about telling stories of that age, and I think also why I got into theater and why I love writing and storytelling anyways is because, that's what my family has always done. Whenever we get together, we're always sharing stories. When I would spend the night at my grandmother's house or stay with her over the summer, she would just tell me stories about what it was like for her growing up in Jackson, Mississippi during that time. And you would think that it would be all these painful stories, but man, my grandmother had some joy in there. You know, she grew up on this one little street called Fortification Street. And I wanted to live there. You know, she lived in this 2-room shotgun house. But man, she made the best, you know, out of her situation. And there are so many rich, incredible stories that have been the foundation for things that I've written. My grandfather and her also grew up on the same street, and their love story is just so gorgeous. And like, man, I would love for the world to see that as well. And there's so many, you know, layers to these sorts of stories. And of course, yeah, she would tell me about how difficult it was that she couldn't try on, you know, shoes at the store. She had to have someone outline her foot so that, you know, the clerk could pick, you know, some shoes out for her. And, you know, she had to sit at the back of the bus. And of course, there's all that segregation and that sort of thing. But, you know, you forget that there's also a lot of laughter, and she would get into mischievousness, you know, again. And I keep talking about, you know, like their love story, but, you know, man, I love that too.
Yeah.
And, you know, she speaks with a wisdom and, you know, with someone who has like been through stuff, because she has been through stuff. But, you know, and perhaps it's because of her, you know, very strong faith as well. But she's always like, yeah, it was hard, but, you know, here I am. And like, thank goodness, you know, and she has a lot of hope, like her grandmother and grandmother, all the way, you know, down to my namesake. They had a lot of hope in, you know, the next generation. So I think a lot about that. And, you know, the dreams that Lorraine Hansberry talks about in A Raisin in the Sun as well, you know, and that line that Mama has about God giving, you know, or you can, you know, look at it as whoever you want, God giving us, you know, children as a beacon of hope. And circling back to everything that we've already said, you know, why can't we be, you know, those children who are the hope and are the change? And, you know, I have a lot of hope and faith in that, and that we will, you know, listen to, you know, our ancestors and like people love to say, be our ancestors' wildest dreams, you know? Yeah. So again, even though we're going through everything that we're going through, I think, and maybe this is, hopefully this isn't verging on, you know, like toxic positivity, but I think that there's a way in which we can spin it and have the outlook that, you know, my grandmother had, you know, acknowledging, yes, this is a really difficult time, but boy, is there a lot of, you know, joy and, you know, time for contemplation, which, you know, as Clara said, can be really difficult, but like so important for us to just like sit with ourselves as well. So
it's just reminded me how important and how important it seems to be to this age group, this generation of theater artists and artists, but I think specifically theater artists, of what it means to prioritize representing radical humanity and radical love and radical change. And that I don't think there are many things, at least in this time, that don't feel radical in that way. And that we as artists are redefining what it means to be rich and to have riches and to have power and love, and how the power doesn't come from what we think of when we think of being rich. It comes from the heart-to-heart human connection that we receive and the art that we make and the way that we can change people's hearts and minds by being real, by listening, and being honest about our individual experiences. And just listening. Just fucking listening.
Wow. Yeah. Sarah, I love how you talk about and Clara, this radical love, and no matter where you are and kind of what doors are in front of you, that there's joy in every window. And it's, I mean, something that I think we can all practice. I mean, all of humanity. And you both have so many incredible gifts to give. And so we have kind of a melodramatic question that we ask everyone. And Clara, please answer this too. And it's a 2-word question. And so we're curious, out of all of your, love and gifts and joy that you have, why theater?
Gosh, why theater? Again, I think it's just because I come from storytellers, again, we would all sit together as a family and just tell stories. And when my mom would read me bedtime stories, she would perform those bedtime stories with accents and, sometimes props, and we would get up and, just like do it together. And so I think it's that. And then also, I think it was just why I was put on this earth. I can't really think of anything else that would fill me up the way that theater has, and it's just such a special place that I've been with for a really long time. Like in the play that we're doing, John, who's one of the Black actors, has a line that says, "I think the theater is the grandest place in the world." And I agree with him. It is the grandest place in the world. And you build families and communities, and you mourn together and laugh together. And it's just like, gosh, why not theater?
You got me crying in the cloud. Yeah, I agree with all of that. And it just goes back to what I said before. My answer to why theater usually always is that it is one of the most consistent ways to remind people that they're human, that love between 2 people, 3 people, however many people exists, that their struggles are real and are recognized by a community of people outside of themselves. And also because I like doing it. I think I'm pretty good at it, I'd like to think that. And it's fun. I mean, it's like, I think that most gay kids can say that theater saved their life in so many ways. Mm-hmm. And that's definitely true for my story as well. I can't imagine another community where I could be so fully and so wholeheartedly myself. So that is freeing and really dope.
That's lovely. Well, thank you both. Y'all really popped off. This was super fun.
This was just the perfect interview today. Like, this is, I think, exactly what this needed, what this moment needed, like what we all needed, what I needed. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Sarah.
Well,
thank you.
Thanks, Sarah, for letting me #be interviewed too.
It's cool.
Thank
you so much.
Oh my gosh, it was so nice to talk to you guys. Yeah, and I'm glad we got to Kiki. Interact. Yeah, that was really nice. Got a little Kiki. It was great. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go do the dishes. Oh my God, Angel. I'll come up for like a second. Okay, here's your other phone. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye, Sarah.
What a wonderful interview. That was so fun, y'all. I feel like I learned so much. I feel like there's a lot of I'm inspired. I don't know about y'all. If you're not expired and not expired, I hope you're not expired. Please do not be expired. I would not like that. But I hope we're all inspired because that was wonderful. All right. So next up, we're going to have a classic, our Seggy Weggy segments. Here we are. So, so starting off, we have the profile of the week with Michelle Terry. So Michelle Terry is an Olivier award-winning English actress and writer, known for her extensive work for Shakespeare's Globe, RSC and Royal National Theatre, as well as her television work, most notably in starring in the Sky One television series, The Cafe. Terry took up the role of artistic director at the Shakespeare's Globe in April 2018. She also went on to win critical acclaim for her work at Shakespeare's Globe Theatre for her performance of Rosalind in As You Like It. London's Financial Times wrote, I'm not sure it's possible to see Michelle Terry on the stage without falling a little in love with her. She has the intelligence, inventiveness, and vivacity to play the character in the show simultaneously, not setting herself above the material, but relishing her immersion in the role and inviting us to share it with her. So, lovely. Also, why is the Financial Times writing about a theater show? I couldn't tell you, but hey,
great question.
They had a whole quote, so that's fun. So she also appeared in productions of Love Labor's Lost and A Midsummer's Night's Dream at that venue. She notably directed and starred in the lead role of in 2018 gender fluid version of Hamlet, and in 2018 Terry starred in the lead role of Lady Macbeth opposite her husband Paul Reddy in the Scottish play at the Globe's candlelit Sam Wanamaker Playhouse.
Clara suggested that we do our profile on Michelle Terry because she's just absolutely incredible, and her performance as Hamlet in Hamlet was just so
riveting,
revolutionary. Right.
Those are words.
A great name to know. I mean, hopefully the goal of these profiles is to load up your name drop toolbox so that when people drop names, you can be like, yeah, I know who this person is, because that's, yeah, the gift we are hoping to give to you.
Yes. If we take one thing away, remember the names of some people that we talked about, because, hey, you'll sound great. Yeah?
Absolutely. And for our student shout out of the week, could we get a huge warm welcome for Iris Brantzig, who is a new transfer to the BA department. She's just so wonderful. New student orientation, I just gosh, she's just so radiant. And I was like, wow, we have to introduce her to everyone. So Iris, take it away.
Hey, I'm Tad Pierce. I'm Iris. My pronouns are she and her, and my major is theater with a focus in performance creation. And right now I'm looking to get some sort of minor in the SCMC department as well, because I'm also interested in acting for TV and radio and in media culture as well. I think what drew me to the U of M the most is the amount of attention that the department gives to doing devised work and student-created performance. There was a devised one act I was able to be a part of when I was in high school about Schrodinger's cat, and I was so intrigued by the different methods of creation that exist out there. I really love plays, but I also love writing, and I already feel like so many of my classes have been great opportunities for me to utilize those skills. My favorite class right now is probably creating the performance. We just did this awesome project led by Michael Summers involving toy theaters and talking about what our nightmares are. And I have past experiences with puppeteering and doing work with puppets in shows, but I've never done anything quite like that. And I feel like that's a unique thing that I wouldn't have gotten to do if we weren't all working from home. So I'm grateful. If anything positive has come out of being in school during a pandemic, it's coming up with different ways to keep being creative. Honestly, I don't have any specific career goals set for myself. I definitely believe in doing hard work and setting myself up for success, but I don't want to be too hard on myself. I don't want to disappoint myself because there are so many things that a person can do in the arts that as long as I can say I do what I love for a living someday, I think that's enough. Something I'd like to have the ability to do one day is use performance and art to start important conversations about social tensions, because I really love improv and comedy, but I also think art is a really useful tool for starting important conversations about social tensions. I'm also really passionate about women's issues, climate change, and anti-racism work. And I think doing devised plays and writing performance pieces gives performers and audience members a way to be confronted with an issue in an environment that doesn't feel so confrontational. Therefore, they're more open to discussion about it. And finally, something that brings me joy right now is my little quarantine bubble. I'm doing on-campus housing this year. I live in an apartment with my best friend and a third roommate who we just met this year, and we all get along really well. We make a lot of tea, we talk about camping and mountains, and we watch Impractical Jokers. I'm super excited for the rest of the year. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on the Peercast this week.
All right, Iris, thank you so much. Again, if you have some things to share, some things to plug, let us know. Give us a DM, give us an email, all the things. So speaking of being emailed, we do have a question that's been coming from some of you, and that would be, what is spring semester going to look like? ? And well, though we don't really know for sure, no decisions have been made, we do have a whisper of a rumor that we're going to disclose, but just know that no decisions have been made yet. So as we've all seen, spring break has been moved back to April. And so the idea that's circulating is that we go in person until April, and then similar to how Thanksgiving break is going to work, we all leave for Cancun or, all of the tropical places. Wisconsin. And then go strictly online after that. But again, do not freak out. Like, that is not by any means decided. So maybe we shouldn't even be telling you, but just in case you want to know what's kind of going on. Absolutely. All right. So send us any more questions and we'll do our best to find things out and answer them for you.
Yes, indeed. And with that, as usual, we have some closing thoughts for you all. So, if I change into an accent one more time, we're going to have to fight someone. I'm so serious. Anyways, y'all, here are your closing thoughts. So, vote. I don't know what else to tell you, y'all. I feel like this has been the same closing thoughts for like at least a month. If y'all don't vote, I already said we were going to fight. There's not much. I'm going to sue you. Yes. If you don't vote in 3 years, 4 years, how old am I? 4 years, once I get my law degree, I will come back and I will sue you for wrongful death of my soul. Yeah. That's a good one.
You don't want to do that. Don't do that.
I would the way I'd have to fish. It's fine. Just don't make me have to do it, y'all. I don't want to do it. Just go ahead and vote if you can. Voting is fun. And if you are doing an absentee ballot, make sure you do it this week, okay? So we want to make sure that everyone's votes are being counted, and everyone gets to have a say in, the things we as a country will experience the next 4 years. So go ahead and vote. And now we have some wonderful, wise words from the BA representative, Caitlin McLean. Caitlin, be wise.
My favorite book is called Everyone's a Alien When You're a Alien Too, a book by Johnny Sun. Whenever I find myself feeling really lonely or sad in general, I find myself coming back to this book. Here's one of the quotes that is especially resonant with me right now. There are many reasons to be sad. You may be sad because you feel alone. The comforting thing about feeling lonely is that everything that has ever existed also knows what loneliness feels like too. You may be sad because you are sad. It is okay to be sad. But if you are sad because happiness is fleeting, just remember that sadness is also fleeting too. When you are sad, it is okay to let yourself be sad. That is okay. Enjoy your sadness. One day even your sadness will be over too soon.
This episode of the Peercast is edited by Rachel Breeze, programmed by Hunter Batterson and Caitlin McLean, and our music is composed by Raymond New.
I didn't know I was going to be interviewed until like an hour ago anyway, so.
Gosh, yeah, it was, yeah, perfect. I think it was just meant to be in a way. Yeah.
It was meant to be.
Little bee, baby, it's meant to be.
Okay, wait, room noise.
Literally, I can't look at you.
We can do this.
I'm gonna leave.
I'm
gonna leave my AirPods. Okay, I hope that was long enough. I literally just went and giggled.
I know. I had it in the middle of it, and I was like, she's in a whole different room and giggling right now.
I had to go out on the balcony, and I just giggled out there. Okay.
I love you all. Have a wonderful day.